My name is Reed Nelson, and I'm the co-owner of Vegan East. I was part of the open rescue at Ridglan Farms last weekend, and I want to give you my perspective, both of what happened and what led up to it. I think it's very important that this information gets out clearly and accurately, because what I'm seeing right now is a lot of misinformation, and I want to address some of that here and explain why it matters that people understand this correctly. Some of this I will need to be very precise about, and I will, but I am not an attorney. I'm not a journalist. I was there, and I'm going to explain this to the best of my ability. I also want to be very clear. I don't speak on behalf of Wayne Chong or Direct Action Everywhere. This is just my perspective based on what I saw and experienced. I have an immense amount of respect for what they are doing. I believe Wayne Chong is a spectacular leader who thinks multiple steps ahead and has a clear view of the entire movement and what it is going to take to achieve total animal liberation. I, like a lot of people, saw the open rescue of 22 beagles on March 15th, and something shifted in me. I was incredibly inspired, and I decided I was done sitting on the sidelines for this type of action. And by that, I mean action that could realistically end in my arrest. There's a difference between protesting outside a fur store and physically going into a breeding facility and removing animals. Both matter, but one requires a different level of commitment. So I signed up. I booked a hotel, went through the onboarding, joined the messaging groups, filled out forms, and chose a risk level. There were 3 levels of risks that you could choose from. The green team was to offer support on public property with very little likelihood of arrest. The yellow team was positioned between the red team and law enforcement or Ridglan employees, expecting misdemeanor level risk and acting as a protective barrier between the two. And the red team was the group actually going into the facility and removing the animals, facing the highest level of risk, including the possibility of felony charges. I initially signed up for the yellow team, but as the rescue got closer, I transitioned over to red. From there, we were assigned to teams within our colors, met on Zoom, and went through 2 core trainings. I should note these were required trainings: empathy training and nonviolence training. Nonviolence is straightforward. We do not commit violence against any human being because it is wrong, and doing so hurts the movement and ultimately hurts the animals. Empathy training was the other piece. We were trained to have empathy for everyone involved. This includes police and the employees at Ridglan. As far as the employees are concerned, these are people who may not have a lot of employment options. If they had a better opportunity, maybe they'd take it. Instead, they're working in a place where dogs are subjected to horrific conditions, carrying out the work they've been asked to do. That doesn't make it okay, but I'm not going to sit here in my cloud of judgment and pretend I understand lives I have not lived. These 2 elements, nonviolence and empathy, were a huge part, the biggest part, of our required training. The first misconception I want to clear up: why not go in at night? Why not surprise them? Why announce it publicly? This is very likely the most common question I see on social media right now. And to be clear, based on our training, we believe this isn't just a moral or ethical issue. We believe there is a legal right to rescue animals from this kind of abuse. Dane County does not see it that way. We believe they're wrong. If there is a dog locked in a car on a hot 90-degree day, and you see that dog, and you look around for the owner, and you call 911, and 10 minutes pass, 15 minutes pass, 20 minutes pass, and you see that that dog is suffering in that hot car, you don't wait for someone else to decide it's okay. At some point, you act. You break the window because you have the right to save that life. So the question is whether that same principle applies here. We believe it does. We were supposed to meet for a required group training Friday night, but that was rained out, so the training shifted to Saturday morning. The open rescue was originally scheduled for Sunday morning. Saturday morning, before any training was scheduled to begin, about 24 hours before the scheduled rescue, Wayne Chong, who was leading the effort, was serving Ridglan Farms with a $35 million lawsuit alleging terroristic threats and violations of constitutional rights against peaceful protesters. And that's when Wayne was arrested. There's video of this. He's standing on public property, serving papers, not being aggressive, not doing anything violent, and he gets arrested. You can hear him ask what the probable cause is. They don't explain it, at least not in the video. Shortly after that, the message went out to get to Ridgeland now. The second misconception I see floating around the internet is this. You may have seen reporting, including from CNN, saying that Ridglan Farms has never been convicted of a crime. Here's why that statement is incredibly misleading. Ridglan Farms hasn't been charged with a crime not because there are no concerns, but because the case was resolved without criminal charges. A special prosecutor was appointed and reviewed inspection reports, testimony, and other evidence related to conditions at the facility. Instead of filing charges, the prosecutor reached an agreement in which Ridglan Farms will voluntarily give up its state breeding license by July 2026. In exchange, criminal prosecution will not be pursued. The prosecutor also indicated that some remedies, such as removing the dogs, were not available through the criminal process. If you have yet to hear what these poor souls go through, here is a brief summary, although I owe them much more. Ridglan Farms in Dane County, Wisconsin houses approximately 2,000 beagles in windowless facilities where they are confined to small, stacked metal cages without access to natural light or the outdoors. The facility breeds dogs for biomedical research, with some also used for on-site experiments. Inspection reports dating back to 2016 document serious violations, including unsafe ammonia levels that caused physical irritation to inspectors. Testimony from former employees and investigations by advocacy groups described widespread neglect, including untreated injuries, lack of routine veterinary care, and surgeries performed without anesthesia or pain relief. Practices reportedly include devocalization procedures and cherry eye surgeries conducted by unlicensed individuals. Additional concerns include unsanitary living conditions, inadequate ventilation, overcrowding, and psychological distress among the dogs, evidenced by repetitive stress behaviors. Reports also cite unnecessary euthanasia and hazardous cage conditions causing injuries. In 2025, a special prosecutor was appointed, leading to an agreement for Ridglan to relinquish its license by July 2026. However, this agreement does not remove the dogs or improve conditions in the interim. Legal efforts continue, including a habeas corpus petition seeking recognition of the dog's rights to be free from cruelty under Wisconsin law. And if you're wondering why beagles are primarily chosen as lab animals, I'm going to read this directly from the Beagle Freedom Project. Please note, this is very difficult to hear. Imagine living it. Beagles are the primary breed used in animal testing, particularly for pharmaceutical and toxicity studies due to their small size, docile and trusting temperament, and passive nature, making them easy to handle. They are often used in tests for humans, veterinary, and chemical products, and are chosen because they tend not to fight back and are easy to manage in laboratory settings. At some point, you have to ask yourself a very simple question. Are you okay with this? Because once you've seen it, a dog spinning inside a cage, and the rescuer later realizing she was blind. There's video of this. It's heartbreaking. Once you've heard it, puppies crying who have never felt a loving human touch, who have never felt grass, who are living their entire lives inside those cages, you won't forget it. It sticks with you. It's in the fabric of your muscles. If I got anything wrong, please let me know and I'll address it in the comments. to the best of my ability. Again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a journalist, and I don't represent anybody. I own a vegan bakery. This is just my independent observation of what happened and what I'm seeing misrepresented on the national stage and how I feel I can help clarify that. To win this fight, we will need loads of mental toughness. I define mental toughness with a simple question. What does it take to break you? Is it pepper spray directly in your eyes? Is it lungs full of tear gas? Is it bruises from rubber bullets fired at close range? Is it a gash down your face? Because I saw all of those things on Saturday, but I didn't see a single person broken. Not one. And that's why we'll win this fight. I know it. We're coming for you guys. I promise. Until every cage is empty. Peace.